On February 10th, 1981, in Cedar Edge, Colorado, a seemingly ordinary school day turned into a chilling mystery. 17-year-old Roger Ellison arrived at Cedar Edge High School, placed his books inside his locker, but then vanished without a trace. He never attended any of his classes that day, leaving behind a baffled family and an unanswered question that has lingered for over 4 decades. Roger Ellison, a 17-year-old senior, was a straight-A honor student with a bright future. He had already been accepted to Western State College in Gunnison, Colorado, and had even put down a deposit on a dorm room. An avid and skilled skier with the Powderhorn Racing Club, he was eagerly anticipating an upcoming ski race in Aspen the weekend after he disappeared. His sister, Becky, was a former member of the U.S. ski team, and Roger hoped to follow in her footsteps. On the morning of Tuesday, February 10th, 1981, Roger took the school bus to Cedar Edge High School, arriving around 8:30 a.m. He shared locker number 191 in the school's basement with a friend, Mitch Coleman. Mitch saw Roger place books in their locker, and Roger told Mitch he'd see him in class before they parted ways. This was the last confirmed sighting of Roger Ellison. Roger, who had a perfect attendance record, never showed up for any of his classes. When he failed to return home, his parents, Ernest and Evelyn Ellison, searched for him. After waiting up all night, they contacted the Delta County Sheriff's Office the next morning. Initially, they were told they couldn't file a report for 48 hours and that Roger likely ran off with a girlfriend. However, Roger was considered a loner and didn't have a girlfriend, leading his parents to firmly believe he did not disappear voluntarily. He left behind all his personal possessions, including his car, motorcycle, skis, and money in his bank account. He only had his wallet with his driver's license and $3 for lunch money and a yellow backpack of school books. The fact that he left his skis, given his passion for the sport and the upcoming race, was particularly distressing to his family. When Roger didn't resurface, his parents persisted. The Delta County Sheriff's Office eventually took on the case after an unconfirmed report of a hitchhiker with a backpack matching Roger's description. The Ellison family launched their own independent investigation, offering an $8,000 reward and tirelessly searching for him. 6 months after Roger's disappearance, his father, Ernest, who had a history of heart problems, suffered a fatal stroke at 58. Ernest had spent every afternoon waiting for the school bus, hoping Roger would be dropped off, leading many to believe he died of a broken heart. Shortly after Ernest's death, Evelyn Ellison made contact with John Pash, Roger's social studies teacher and wrestling coach at Cedar Edge High School. Evelyn later reported that Pash told her Roger had been experiencing a lot of personal problems and was suicidal prior to his disappearance. Pash's house was right next door to the school, and he claimed Roger would visit to turn in homework for time off to ski. Investigators heard from another source that Pash allegedly stated Roger would come to his house late at night for counseling sessions due to personal problems. Evelyn found Pash's claims of Roger's suicidal tendencies hard to believe, especially since Roger's ski coach had seen him the weekend before his disappearance and said he was in good spirits, looking forward to the race. Evelyn also found it odd that Pash waited 6 months to disclose this information. Investigators performed a search of Pash's residence, but found no evidence. Pash sold his house and moved to California in 1984. The Ellison family continued to pursue answers, consulting psychics and following tips, but the investigation stalled. Evelyn Ellison struggled with depression and a heart condition, passing away on February 9th, 1992, one day before the 11-year anniversary of Roger's disappearance. Delta County Sheriff Bill Blair had promised Evelyn he would not give up on finding her son. In March 1994, the Delta County Sheriff's Office received a crucial tip from one of Roger's former classmates. The student reported seeing Pash digging in his yard shortly after Roger went missing. When asked what he was doing, Pash claimed he was transplanting roses, which the student found odd for winter. By this point, Pash had sold his house to the Delta County coroner, who had converted it into a mortuary. The sheriff's office obtained permission to perform a dig. They teamed up with NecroSearch International, Inc., who used ground-penetrating radar and detected 4 anomalies in the yard and 2 anomalies underneath a concrete floor in the garage. A backhoe excavated a section of the yard, but no evidence was found, and the decision was made not to dig up the garage. A month later, Roger's case was featured on the Sally Jesse Raphael show, which generated 2 tips, but they proved to be dead ends. The next major development came in June 1998, when a dying man contacted investigators from the Delta County Sheriff's Office to make a deathbed confession. The witness claimed that in early spring 1981, while poaching for deer with another man in a forest northwest of Cedar Edge, they came across a young man with his hands tied, being held at gunpoint by another man. After leaving the scene, they heard gunshots. The witness said he made a pact with his friend to remain silent. The witness identified Roger from a photo lineup and passed a polygraph. The second poacher corroborated the story. A search of the wooded area yielded no remains or evidence. Both witnesses reportedly identified Roger's captor as a man who had since left the Colorado area, though investigators have never confirmed his identity. Sheriff Bill Blair noted there were rumors about the person's role, but no proof. His successor, Fred McKee, also believed other witnesses knew what happened but were reluctant to come forward due to their own involvement in illegal activity. In 2010, Cedar Edge High School underwent extensive renovations to become an elementary school. While there was hope this might unearth new evidence, nothing was found. There have been no further public developments in the investigation. Over the years, theories and rumors have circulated. John Pash himself appeared in online forums, denying any involvement and claiming misinformation was spread about him. He portrayed himself as a victim of false accusations, stating that as a liberal teacher in a conservative community, he was easily targeted. He claimed Roger's assignment revealed personal problems, but that he was told not to disclose details and that his meeting with Evelyn was misconstrued. He vehemently denied stories of students meeting at his house for inappropriate activities or drug use, despite some former students claiming these stories were true. Pash generally leaned towards the theory that Roger ran away, even suggesting Roger found what he was looking for that day. However, he never provided concrete evidence for this. While there is no definitive evidence linking Pash to Roger's disappearance, his contradictory statements, delayed disclosures, and the physical evidence of digging at his former property remain highly suspicious. The case of Roger Ellison, a popular student with a bright future, remains one of Colorado's most frustrating unsolved mysteries. With both of Roger's parents now deceased, the true crime community continues to grapple with the haunting question of what truly happened to Roger Ellison on that February day in 1981.
Hey, this is Tony from the Cold Case Project, where we focus on unsolved cases across the United States. Our mission is to bring attention to these unresolved mysteries that need your help. All the information we cover in these cases is readily available on the internet, but we rewrite and repurpose it for the purpose of these videos. Our goal is to spread the word about the thousands of unsolved cold cases still out there. Thank you for watching. If you want to help shed light on these cases, make sure to like and subscribe for more content. Your support can make a difference.
Salida, Colorado, a charming town nestled in the heart of the Rocky Mountains, draws visitors with its natural beauty and promise of adventure. In the summer of 1987, it was the destination for 3 friends from Florida embarking on a gem mining expedition, a quest for riches in the rugged landscape. But for one of them, the journey ended in a chilling disappearance, leaving behind a suspicious story, a significant life insurance payout, and a mystery that has lingered for decades. Ray Collins was last seen in Salida, Colorado, sometime during July 1987. At the time, he resided in Winter Haven, Florida. In July 1987, Collins, along with 2 friends, Dave Caffey, and Richard Berth quit their jobs and headed to Salida for what was planned as a 3-month gem mining expedition. 3 weeks into their trip, an unexpected family emergency called Richard Berth back home to Lake Wales, Florida. A few days after Berth's departure, Dave Caffey claimed that Collins expressed a desire to see the Grand Canyon. Caffey stated that he then dropped Collins off at a bus station in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Ray Collins' family found this story highly unusual, as he had already visited the Grand Canyon several years earlier. Ray Collins has never been heard from again. Later in July, Caffey returned to Florida, driving Collins' Toyota pickup. Ray Collins' clothing and mining equipment were still inside the vehicle. Adding a significant layer of suspicion to Collins' disappearance is the financial arrangement that preceded the trip. Prior to their departure, Dave Caffey had purchased $50,000 in life insurance on both Collins and Berth, a fact the men were aware of. When Ray Collins was declared legally dead in 1988, his policy was cashed in. Collins' brother collected half of the sum, and, strikingly, Dave Caffey took the other half. Further compounding the dubious circumstances, it was revealed that both Berth and Collins had given Caffey $5,000 each before the trip. Caffey had told them he needed the money to lease private land for their mining operation. In reality, the land was public, meaning no lease was required. This deceptive act immediately cast a dark shadow on Caffey's intentions. Collins' case was eventually reopened in 2008, more than 2 decades after his disappearance. Colorado law enforcement officials traveled to Florida to interview Collins' mining partners. Police have stated that Richard Berth has been very cooperative in the investigation, providing information to help authorities. Dave Caffey, on the other hand, has not. Dave Caffey is currently considered the prime suspect in Collins' disappearance. He has reportedly bragged about killing Collins in the years following 1987. These chilling statements, however, have not been officially confirmed. When interviewed by the press about Collins' disappearance, Caffey maintains that he does not know what happened to him. Ray Collins had work experience in the auto repair, carpentry, and construction fields. He was married at least twice and has a large family to whom he was devoted, making his sudden, uncharacteristic disappearance even more alarming to those who knew him. Foul play is strongly suspected in his disappearance, which remains unsolved. Colorado Springs, Colorado, nestled at the foot of the majestic Pikes Peak, is a city known for its stunning natural beauty and vibrant community. Yet, in the spring of 2008, a chilling sequence of events unfolded, leaving behind a profound question mark in the lives of a family and a baffling unsolved case for law enforcement. This is the story of Beikim Elshani, a young woman whose disappearance is inextricably linked to a tragic and sudden death, leaving a trail of unanswered questions. Beikim Elshani was last seen in the 100 block of West Rockrimmon Boulevard in Colorado Springs, Colorado, at 1:15 a.m. on March 29, 2008. After that moment, she was never heard from again. 2 days later, on the evening of March 31st, police responded to her apartment in the 6,000 block of Twin Oaks Drive, near Academy in Dublin, to conduct a welfare check. As officers approached the residence, a single gunshot pierced the silence. Inside, they discovered the body of Elshani's live-in boyfriend, Daniel Duryea. He had died by suicide. There was no sign of Beikim Elshani at the scene, and no indications of a struggle within the apartment. Furthermore, Duryea did not leave a note. The timing of Duryea's death added another layer to the tragedy. He took his own life the day before he was scheduled to appear in court to answer to harassment and computer crimes charges. These charges stem from an incident in January 2008, when he allegedly hacked into Elshani's MySpace page and posted nude photos of her. At that time, Elshani was dating her ex-husband, Wesley Bartle, but had later reconciled with Duryea. Bartle is not considered a suspect in her disappearance. Beikim Elshani's relationship with Daniel Duryea was marked by significant turmoil. In May 2007, they had an argument over phone calls Bartle made to Elshani, resulting in Elshani's arrest for assault after she punched Dearir in the face. Later that year, in October 2007, Dearir himself was arrested for assault after Elshani claimed he had used a stun gun on her nearly 20 times. However, this case was dismissed in March 2008, just weeks before her disappearance. Authorities stated that when they searched Dearir's red Toyota 4Runner, they found unspecified evidence that indicated foul play may have been involved in Elshani's disappearance. This discovery was crucial, suggesting that her vanishing was not voluntary. Investigators also learned that Dearir had driven the 4Runner to Woodland Park in Teller County, Colorado, just hours after Elshani was last seen. A subsequent search of the park, however, turned up no indication of Elshani's whereabouts. Investigators theorize that if Daniel Dearir was involved in Elshani's case, he likely confessed his actions to someone prior to his death. Despite this belief and the passage of time, no one has come forward with any information. Beikim Elshani left behind 9 siblings, who continue to live with the unanswered questions surrounding their sister's fate. Her case remains unsolved. Imagine a loving mother kissing her 16-month-old daughter goodbye, stepping out for a quick shopping trip at a nearby mall, and then vanishing into thin air. No body, no crime scene, no answers. Just an innocent toddler left without her mother, and a family desperately searching for a truth that may never come. This is the perplexing story of Nani Dodson. On November 19, 2006, in Jefferson County, Colorado, 33-year-old Nani Dodson disappeared without a trace. But this wasn't just any missing person case. Nani was a dedicated Air Force nurse, a single mother, and a woman who had recently made some life-altering decisions that would later raise serious questions about her disappearance. Let's rewind to understand who Nani Dodson really was. Born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, Nani was known for her vibrant personality and unwavering dedication to helping others. She served as a registered nurse at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas, where her colleagues described her as meticulous, responsible, and absolutely devoted to her profession. But it was her role as a mother to her daughter, Savannah, that truly defined her life. In November 2006, Nani and little Savannah were visiting Nani's brother, Tony Dodson, and his wife in Jefferson County, Colorado. It was supposed to be a relaxing Thanksgiving vacation. On that fateful Sunday morning, Nani told her family she was heading to the Prairie Center shopping mall, just a short drive away. She planned to get a smoothie and do some shopping. She left around 1 p.m., wearing a brown jacket, blue jeans, and brown boots. The shopping trip should have taken no more than a few hours. But as the afternoon turned to evening, Nani's family grew increasingly worried. Their calls went straight to voicemail. Mall security cameras showed no sign of her ever arriving. Her credit cards remained unused. Her cell phone never pinged another tower after leaving her brother's neighborhood. What made this case particularly concerning was what investigators would soon discover about Nani's personal life. She was in the midst of a complicated situation involving her daughter's father, Edward B. Court records revealed that Nani had been pursuing child support and had recently won a significant legal battle regarding Savannah's custody. She was due to appear in court in Texas just days after her disappearance for a hearing related to these matters, adding another layer of complexity to the case. Interestingly, Nani had also recently taken out a life insurance policy, naming her daughter as the beneficiary. While this isn't unusual for a single parent, the timing later became a point of interest for investigators. The initial search efforts were extensive. Law enforcement combed through the area around Tony Dodson's home, deployed search dogs, and conducted aerial searches. But Jefferson County's vast, rugged terrain held no clues to Nani's whereabouts. It was as if she had simply evaporated into the crisp Colorado air. As investigators dug deeper into Nani's disappearance, they uncovered a web of relationships and circumstances that painted a complex picture. The first person of interest was naturally Edward B., Savannah's father. The timing of Nani's disappearance, just days before a crucial court hearing, certainly raised red flags. However, B. had an alibi that checked out. He was in Texas at the time, hundreds of miles away from Colorado. But here's where things get interesting. In the months leading up to her disappearance, Nani had confided in friends and family about feeling uneasy. She had even taken steps to document potential threats, keeping a detailed record of concerning interactions. Was this the paranoia that sometimes comes with contentious custody battles, or was Nani sensing real danger? The investigation also revealed that Nani had been planning significant life changes. She was considering leaving her position at Lackland Air Force Base for a civilian nursing job. She had been researching new apartments in San Antonio, looking for a fresh start with Savannah. These weren't the actions of someone planning to vanish voluntarily. As the hours turned into days and days into weeks, investigators faced mounting pressure. They conducted extensive interviews with everyone in Nani's life: her colleagues at Lackland, her friends in San Antonio, and her family members. Each conversation seemed to add another piece to the puzzle, but the complete picture remained frustratingly elusive. One of the most puzzling aspects of the case was Nani's cell phone activity, or rather, the lack thereof. Her last known cell phone ping came from near her brother's home. After that, nothing. In an age where digital footprints are nearly impossible to erase completely, Nani's sudden technological silence was deafening. Experts analyzed her phone records, looking for patterns or anomalies that might hint at what happened that Sunday afternoon, but the data trail went cold as suddenly as Nani had vanished. The investigation took another turn when authorities began looking more closely at the Prairie Center shopping mall angle. While security cameras showed no sign of Nani, investigators discovered something curious. Several witnesses reported seeing a woman matching Nani's description at a different shopping center several miles away. These sightings were never confirmed, but they opened up new possibilities about her movements that day. Law enforcement also focused heavily on the timeline immediately following Nani's departure from her brother's house. They meticulously reconstructed every possible route she could have taken, interviewed residents along these paths, and searched for any security cameras that might have captured her journey. The effort was massive, but the results were minimal. As months passed, the case took several unexpected turns. Anonymous tips began flowing in, each one promising to be the key to solving the mystery. One caller claimed to have seen Nani at a gas station in New Mexico. Another swore they spotted her at a restaurant in Oklahoma. Each lead was thoroughly investigated, but none led to concrete evidence of Nani's whereabouts. The Air Force community rallied around the case. Nani's fellow nurses and military colleagues organized their own searches, distributed flyers across multiple states, and kept her story alive in the media. They couldn't fathom how one of their own, someone trained in survival skills and known for her level-headedness, could simply disappear. The investigation also revealed interesting details about Nani's final days. Before her disappearance, she had been making plans for Savannah's future, including scheduling doctor's appointments and looking into preschools. She had recently updated her will and life insurance policy, actions that investigators initially found suspicious, but later recognized as responsible planning by a single mother. Perhaps most heartbreaking was the impact on little Savannah. At just 16 months old when her mother vanished, she was too young to understand what had happened. The courts eventually had to make difficult decisions about her custody arrangements, all while hoping that somehow, somewhere, Nani would return to reclaim her role as a mother. In 2008, 2 years after Nani's disappearance, a new investigative team took over the case. They brought fresh eyes and modern technological resources to the investigation. One of their first actions was to re-interview everyone who had been in contact with Nani in the weeks before she vanished. These new interviews revealed previously unreported details about Nani's state of mind and activities. A colleague from Lackland Air Force Base remembered Nani mentioning that she felt she was being watched at work. Initially dismissed as workplace stress, this information took on new significance when cross-referenced with surveillance footage from the base parking lot. The footage, though grainy, showed an unidentified vehicle appearing multiple times in the weeks before her disappearance. The investigation also delved deeper into Nani's military career. As an Air Force nurse, she had access to sensitive information and worked with high-ranking personnel. While there was never any indication that her disappearance was connected to her military service, investigators had to explore every possibility. They discovered that Nani had been considering a transfer to a different base, citing personal reasons in her preliminary paperwork. One of the most heart-wrenching aspects of the case was its impact on Savannah. As years passed, she grew from a toddler to a young girl who knew her mother only through photographs and stories. The family made sure to keep Nani's memory alive, celebrating her birthdays and sharing happy memories. They created a special memory box filled with Nani's personal items, her favorite perfume, her nursing pen, and letters she had written to Savannah before her disappearance. In 2010, a major development occurred when a hiker in Jefferson County discovered a piece of jewelry that matched the description of what Nani was wearing when she disappeared. This discovery prompted a massive new search of the area, involving cadaver dogs, ground-penetrating radar, and dozens of volunteers. While the search didn't lead to Nani, it did uncover other evidence that helped solve two unrelated cold cases in the area. The investigation took another significant turn when cold case detectives began applying new DNA testing methods to items found in and around Nani Dotson's neighborhood. They were able to establish a more precise timeline of Nani's last known movements. Security footage from a neighbor's house, previously thought to be too degraded to be useful, was enhanced using new technology. It showed a vehicle of interest leaving the area around the time Nani disappeared, but the image quality wasn't sufficient to identify the make or model definitively. In 2012, the case received renewed attention when a true crime documentary featured Nani's story. This exposure generated hundreds of new tips, each of which had to be methodically investigated. While most led nowhere, one tip stood out. A former resident of Jefferson County claimed to have seen a woman matching Nani's description getting into a dark-colored SUV on the day she disappeared. This witness hadn't come forward earlier out of fear, but the passage of time had changed their perspective. The case also highlighted the challenges faced by military families dealing with custody disputes. Nani's situation was, unfortunately, not unique. Many service members struggled to balance their military duties with family court obligations. Her case led to discussions about improving support systems for military parents involved in custody battles. As the years continued to pass, investigators began utilizing advanced analytical tools to process the massive amount of data collected in the case. They created detailed computer models of possible scenarios, accounting for factors like weather conditions, traffic patterns, and cell phone data from that day. These models helped eliminate some theories while lending credence to others. One particularly interesting avenue of investigation emerged when detectives began looking into similar cases across the country. They discovered a pattern of disappearances involving parents engaged in custody disputes. Though none matched the specific circumstances of Nani's case exactly, this comparative analysis helped investigators refine their theories about what might have happened to her. In 2015, nearly a decade after Nani's disappearance, a significant breakthrough seemed imminent when cadaver dogs indicated potential evidence in a remote area of Jefferson County. The ensuing excavation involved forensic anthropologists and lasted several weeks, but ultimately didn't yield any answers about Nani's fate. However, the effort demonstrated law enforcement's ongoing commitment to solving the case. The investigation also revealed more about Nani's final days at work. Her supervisor at Lackland Air Force Base reported that she had seemed distracted in the week before her Colorado trip, something extremely out of character for the typically focused nurse. She had also requested a schedule change for the following month, though she never specified why. Family members later shared that Nani had been writing in a journal in the months leading up to her disappearance. While most entries were routine, some suggested she felt conflicted about decisions she needed to make. The journal stopped abruptly 3 days before she went to Colorado, with a final entry that simply read, "I hope I'm doing the right thing." Today, Nani Dodson's disappearance remains one of Colorado's most discussed missing persons cases. Her military ID card, driver's license, and credit cards have never been used since that November day in 2006. Her bank accounts remain untouched. The Air Force officially classified her as missing in 2007, but her case remains open in Jefferson County. Savannah, now a teenager, has grown up surrounded by family who make sure she knows about her mother's strength, dedication, and love. The family continues to maintain a website dedicated to finding answers about Nani's disappearance. They hold annual vigils, hoping that someone, somewhere, holds the key to solving this mystery. For investigators, Nani's case represents both the progress and limitations of modern forensic science. While technology has advanced tremendously since 2006, some questions remain frustratingly unanswered. The case file, now containing thousands of pages of interviews, tips, and forensic reports, continues to be reviewed periodically for new leads. Law enforcement officials stress that the case remains active, and they continue to follow up on new tips as they come in. They maintain that someone knows what happened to Nani Dodson on that November afternoon, and they remain committed to finding the truth. As we conclude this investigation, we're left with the sobering reality that somewhere between a brother's house and a shopping mall, a dedicated nurse, loving mother, and proud Air Force service member vanished without a trace. Her case serves as a reminder of the thousands of missing persons cases that remain unsolved across America, each representing a family waiting for answers and justice. If you have any information about the disappearance of Nani Dodson, please contact the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office or submit an anonymous tip through Crime Stoppers. Jennifer Douglas, then 16 years old, called her mother from their home in the 2500 block of Albion Street in the Park Hill neighborhood of Denver, Colorado, on July 16, 1984. She told her mother she was going for a bike ride on the popular Highline Canal Trail. Jennifer was riding a brand-new Black Boys Univega 12 speed bicycle with the tag number 12083. A witness later saw her riding north on Monaco Parkway after she left her residence, confirming her intended route. Jennifer was expected at a ballet class scheduled from 4 to 9 p.m. that evening. However, she never showed up for her class, nor did she ever return home. An extensive search was immediately launched, but it turned up no sign of Jennifer or her new bicycle. This was highly unusual. Jennifer was a dedicated rider, known for sometimes cycling as much as 60 miles at a time, suggesting a familiarity and comfort with long rides. At the time of her disappearance, Jennifer had every reason to be optimistic about her future. She was eagerly looking forward to appearing in a ballet performance scheduled for the week following her disappearance, a testament to her commitment and passion. She attended East High School and was a straight-A student, showing no apparent problems at school or at home. Her parents were adamant that Jennifer was not the kind of person to run away, a statement that has remained consistent throughout the decades. This conviction, coupled with the lack of any personal issues that would prompt a voluntary departure, immediately pointed investigators toward a more sinister scenario. From the outset, foul play has been strongly suspected in Jennifer's case. Both authorities and her family firmly believe that she was taken against her will, the victim of an abduction during what should have been a peaceful bike ride. Jennifer Douglas's disappearance remains unsolved. The Highline Canal Trail, a place of recreation for many, now carries with it the quiet memory of a bright teenager who vanished into thin air.